The time is precisely 1:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News edited by Danushka Madhavala and read by Chandima Virakon. Headlines. The President says that the lack of unity is the main reason for the non-development of the country. Energy Minister pledges to continue restructuring of the CPC despite objections of the trade unions. Operations of the Sapukaskhanda oil refinery has recommenced after 2 months. The Paddy Marketing Board has purchased 850 metric tons of paddy during the past 3 days. The Tourism Promotion Bureau is expected to conduct a series of programs to promote tourism in Sri Lanka. The government has focused its attention to set up fuel shells affiliated with the main hospitals in the country. In news overseas, drone attack targets Russian Black Sea Fleet in Crimea. Local stories in detail. President Ranil Wickremesinghe says that the lack of unity is the main reason for the non-development of the country. Other countries in the world continue forward with many victories. The President reiterated the need of working together for the development of the nation. The country has made historical mistakes in the past and it is needed to unite as one to develop the nation. The President made these remarks while attending religious observances in the Anuradhapura sacred area this morning. President Ranil Wickremesinghe, the chief incumbent of the Sambutwa Jayanti Viharaya, Most Venerable Nuge Thanne Panyananda Thera, and held a cordial discussion with the Thera. The Nayaka Thera said that the main objective of the President should be to make a law-abiding nation. Minister Kanchana Wijayasekara says that some trade unions have expressed their objection over the proposed restructuring of the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation. The minister said that the trade unions were informed earlier regarding these restructuring phases. The minister added that though the government does not object their right to protest, the restructuring process will continue forward. Operations of the Sapukaskhanda oil refinery have recommenced after 2 months. The oil refinery did not function due to an unavailability of crude oil in the country, as the government has earlier decided to halt the importation of crude oil. A ship carrying 100,000 metric tons of crude oil has arrived in the Colombo port. The unloading is now being conducted. Another ship with 120,000 metric tons of crude oil will arrive in the country next week. These stocks of fuel are sufficient for 40 days in the refinery. The ministry says that there will be no jet fuel shortage in the future. More than 200 flights, which were scheduled to land in Sri Lanka for refueling, were diverted to India during the past 3 months. Chairman of the Paddy Marketing Board, Neil De Alves, says that they have purchased around 850 metric tons of paddy during the past 3 days. More than 300 metric tons of paddy have been purchased yesterday alone. 73 paddy storage facilities in the areas where paddy harvest has started and completed remain open for paddy purchases today as well. The purchases will take place according to the government price standards. The government is expected to spend 2,000 million rupees for paddy purchasing during this harvesting season. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Continuing with the local stories, the Tourism Promotion Bureau is expected to conduct a series of programs to promote tourism in Sri Lanka. A delegation headed by Minister Harin Fernando has engaged in a tour in India these days to attract more Indian tourists to Sri Lanka. The minister said many problems existed in the country, but now they are solved. There is a better environment for the tourism in Sri Lanka at present. The minister says the government hopes to attract around 1 million tourists to the country during the coming months. The government expects to earn $2 billion from tourism during this year. Around 2,000 tourists arrive daily in the country, and the government expects to increase the number to around 7,000 per day in the coming months. To conclude the local news, the headlines again. The President says that the lack of unity is one of the main reasons for the non-development of the country. Energy Minister pledges to continue restructuring of the CPC despite objections of the trade unions. Operations of the Sapagaskanda oil refinery have recommenced after 2 months. The Paddy Marketing Board has purchased 850 metric tons of paddy during the past 3 days. The Tourism Promotion Bureau is expected to conduct a series of programs to promote tourism in Sri Lanka. The government has focused its attention to set up fill sheds affiliated with the main hospitals in the country. That ends the local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
On the main news story, the government has focused its attention to set up fill sheds affiliated with the main hospitals in the country. The government has already set up a fill shed near the National Hospital in Colombo. It facilitates ministry vehicles, ambulances and vehicles of the health workers as well. It was reported that several requests have been received to set up such fill sheds in other hospitals as well. That ends the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Watch Life is brought to you by
A Strength to Your Life. CIB Janajaya Vasana has commenced. Valuable gifts and all bills are on 31st of October. Come to CIB today.
And on Watchlight, the Consumer Affairs Authority has stipulated a maximum retail price on eggs. Accordingly, the price of a white egg is now 43 rupees, while the price of a brown egg stands at 45 rupees. That ends Watchlight.
A Strength to Your Life. CIB Janajaya Vasana has commenced. Valuable gifts and all bills are on 31st of October. Come to CIB today.
Headlines of the world news. Drone attack targets Russian Black Sea fleet in Crimea. Islamists kill 12 in Somali hotel attack. Bus plows into crash scene, killing rescuers in Turkey. Russian forces in Crimea have been targeted by a fresh drone strike. The Russian-appointed regional leader said a Ukrainian drone targeting Russia's Black Sea fleet in the city of Sevastopol was shot down yesterday. It follows a string of attacks on Russian forces and installations in the annexed peninsula this month. Meanwhile, Ukraine's president has welcomed a deal allowing UN inspectors to visit the Russian-held nuclear plant further north. Fighting continues at a hotel in the Somali capital Mogadishu, 24 hours after it was stormed by an Islamist militant group. At least 12 people have been killed in the attack by Al-Shabaab, though some local media reported that the death toll could be higher. Attackers detonated at least 2 explosives outside the hotel before entering it on Friday evening. An unknown number of gunmen are still inside holding hostages. A bus has hit the scene of an earlier road incident in Turkey, killing 16 people and injuring 21. The incident happened near the southern city of Gaziantep on Saturday morning. The dead include firefighters, rescuers, and a team of journalists who had been sent to a site where a vehicle had left the road. The bus struck the group, skidded, and overturned 200 meters away. Reinforcement teams were then sent to take the injured to nearby hospitals. To conclude the world news, the headlines again. Drone attack targets Russian Black Sea fleet in Crimea. Islamists kill 12 in Somali hotel attack. Bus plows into crash scene, rescuing killing rescuers in Turkey. That ends the world news. On to the development news. The International Monetary Fund announced that an IMF staff team plans to visit Colombo from the 24th to the 31st of this month to continue discussions with the Sri Lankan authorities on economic and financial reforms and policies. The team will be led by Mr. Peter Brewer and Mr. Masahiro Nozaki, who led an IMF mission to Colombo in June this year. That ends development news. Sports news is up next.
Sports news is brought to you by
Sampath Bank. We present your future.
Taking a look at sports news, Dinesh Chandimal, seamer Asita Fernando and middle order batter Ashen Bandara make their return to the squad for the T20 Asia Cup. Also making comebacks are all-rounder Dhananjay De Silva and leg spinner Jeffrey Vandesey, who were not part of the squad that played Australia in June. Round-arm seamer Matisha Patirana has been picked as well. Chandimal was part of the T20 squad that toured Australia and India earlier this year, but was then dropped for the T20s at home against Australia in June. He returned for the Asia Cup largely on the back on strong performances in Test cricket against Australia and Pakistan. Left-arm spinner Lakshan Sandakhan, fast bowler Nuwan Tushara and all-rounders Ramesh Mendis and Lahiru Madhushankar were left out of the squad. That ends sports news.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
On business news, Sri Lanka's premier private sector retail bank HNB plc signed a memorandum of understanding with next-gen collaborative cloud computing product developer ThinkCube Systems Private Limited to introduce the latter's renowned EasyBiz enterprise resource planning software to small and medium enterprises. HNB entered into this partnership with the objective of fulfilling the market gap of ERP solutions for the bank's lower-level SME clientele at an affordable rate. That ends business news.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Economic news, courtesy of...
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
The coffee cultivation has been expanded in the Waklapane Divisional Secretariat Division. The planning unit said that there is a high demand for coffee and cultivators will be encouraged on use of organic fertilizer for cultivation activities. That ends economic news.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
And finally, we take a look at the weather report. The Met Department says showery condition is expected to enhance to some extent in the southwestern part of the island. Showers will occur at times in western, Sabaragamuwa and northwestern provinces and in Kandy, Nuwara Eliya, Gaul and Madara districts. Showers or thundershowers will occur at a few places in Uva and eastern provinces during the evening or at night. That ends the weather report. And to conclude this bulletin, the headlines again. The President says that the lack of unity is one of the main reasons for the non-development of the country. Energy Minister pledges to continue restructuring of the CPC despite objections of the trade unions. Operations of the Sapakaskanda oil refinery have recommenced after 2 months. The Paddy Marketing Board has purchased 850 metric tons of paddy during the past 3 days. The Tourism Promotion Bureau is expected to conduct a series of programs to promote tourism in Sri Lanka. The government has focused its attention to set up fill sheds affiliated with the main hospitals in the country. And in news overseas, drone attack targets Russian Black Sea Fleet in Crimea. With that, we conclude this bulletin of news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.